For the love of Dallas. Building empowered communities by highlighting those who donate their most precious resource, time. Welcome to the show, For the Love of Dallas. I'm your host, Lauren Davis, and we are here with an extraordinary guest, amazing woman, Beverly Humphrey. She is the Chief of Athletics for Lancaster ISD, as well as the head track coach for the girls track team of Lancaster High School. So thank you, Beverly, for being here. I'm really grateful for you taking time out of your busy day.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, here at the For Love of Dallas, we highlight people who have just given their life over to service, and you have made your entire career, which is so special when your work is your passion, which I can see that clearly in you, to give your life over to pouring into young women at the high school level through athletics. And you have proven to be just a person who shatters all expectations, broken so many records. So I would love for our audience to get to know you and hear how did you turn your entire life over to service for these young women?
Well, it started out in high school. I was the captain of the track team. I was the one that was always praying, getting the girls together and all of that. And so I went off to college, and the coach that I had, she coached the head Olympic Games in 1994. She made us do service projects and work together and get along and things like that, because you know girls.
Yeah.
Things like that. It really motivated me to give service to anyone that I could. So I graduated from college, and I went on to work on a doctorate, and I met my husband, which I lost my focus, but.
The men can do that to us.
Yeah, and so I was looking for a job because we were getting ready to get married, and he called over to Greenville High School, and they had a coaching job open as well as a PE health position open. I applied for the job because traditionally the thing for me was to try to go back and serve in the Black college programs or whatever I could do. So anyway, I got the job. I went on the track. I saw the kids. They were so excited to see me, and I started working with them. Everything else went out the window. Mm-hmm. I knew from that point that God has chosen me to serve kids, and I loved it. And even though I have 2 masters, nothing could take me away from those girls. So that's really how I got started.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. So faith is a huge center of your life. What has your faith journey been like? I find that in everyone I've talked to who has turned their life over to service, it also includes turning your life over to God. I would love to know a little bit more about how that journey has been for you.
Well, it was the way I was raised. Mm-hmm. I guess that would be the foundation. And then the other thing would be, I pray all the time. I'm looking at people sometimes and I'm praying. I pray for myself. I cannot get through a day without God telling me that he loves me in my own way. So on the way to work, I'm praying. If I'm in a situation that I cannot handle, I'm praying. If I'm happy, I'm thanking God. So that is just the way I'm built.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Who has been the most influential person in your life that's maybe you can attribute to giving your life over to service in this manner?
My mother.
Oh.
I'm an only child. Mm-hmm. Both my parents are only children. So my mom was my sister, my aunt, my everything. And she talked to me about the Bible all the time. She helped me to understand things in the Bible that I did not understand. She also raised me to follow the Bible and do what's right. Mm-hmm. And my mother's gone now, but I remember her telling her best friend when she was dying, "Don't worry about Beverly. She will do right." And that was just like, wow. So Florence, that's her name. She influenced me in all kinds of ways. While I was growing up, She made sure I did things right. If I didn't, there was a punishment for it. She stood by my side in everything. I remember going to the Olympic trials at 20,
Oh,
and
wow.
I was just so afraid, just shaking. And I called my mom. And that's the way it was until she died. But I would also have to say, my 40 years of marriage with my husband, Chuck,
Mm.
he's been at all the track meets. Just imagine from 7th grade on, I will say he missed about 4 meets.
Yeah.
But I look to
Wow.
the stands for him. Um, I'm a coach, so I have to be calmed down sometimes. So he's the one that calms me down, but he has stood with me through everything. And he knows track and field just as well as I do.
Wow, that is so beautiful. I feel like, in today's world, and you probably see this more than anybody being around high school aged children, is that families are broken. God seems to be disappearing in places he used to be within our school systems, just within sports. I was a high school softball player, and we won state championship.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I got to play at a high level, and it's my coaches, but they sound like you. They loved us. They were hard on us. They disciplined us. They showed me God. They were my parents at times when maybe sometimes my parents were failing to be their best or what I needed. And tell me about what it's like for you. How do you operate as a coach to these girls? Because families are broken, and you've maintained your marriage. You sounds like you had a great relationship with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
How do you infuse that into your coaching?
I stand in the gap.
Yeah.
Of whatever.
Whatever. I love that.
Yes. And so, although I have a winning program, we're very disciplined, and they know what to expect all the way from 6th grade on if they're going to be in the track program. And my blessing to the girls is that I'm always there.
Mm-hmm.
Always. I show up every day. We're going to be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline has a lot to do with character and things like that. We're going to act a certain way. But if there's a problem, just quickly, I fell in love with a guy when I was 16 years old, and we broke up. And so to this day, I know how that feels. And that's a lot of it. And the things that go on at home when you need a real adult to talk to, that you can tell the whole truth to. I'm that person. I'm your friend, but I'm also the one that stands in the gap. If there's a problem that we need to tell mom about, we're going to do that. I'm going to listen to you, not just hear you. I'm going to listen. And when you need to cry, you get the big Humphrey hug, and we might hold hands and we'll talk it through until they feel much better. So I water them daily, and I love it. That's what I do.
That's beautiful. Well, I haven't heard anything about you make them run this way or that way, this or that, the technical part of track. You really grow these young women, into children of God, and therefore they're excellent, in His image and everything they do. I think that is just so profound and so beautiful, and they're so lucky. They're so blessed. Not even lucky. They're so blessed to get to be, under your care.
Yes.
It sounds like you care for them deeply.
I do. And they work hard.
Yeah.
And they don't like me on Monday. Because that's the hardest workout.
Yeah.
But when you have kids that are disciplined in every way, how to act in certain situations, how to handle the situations that bring you anxiety, all of those things. We go over that in our program. And as far as the running part, I feel like I did a great job when I ran track. And I learned from the best. Like I mentioned, she was the 1994 head Olympic coach.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You don't get that opportunity every
all
day.
the time. So I learned from the best. So I took a lot of what Barbara Jack had taught me into my coaching career. And then as I grew, I added things, I changed things like that. But, we break them up into groups. We have our quarter milers, our hurdlers, our sprinters. They all have different workouts. And when they need a specialized workout, I'm the one to give them that. Every kid is different. You can't train them all the same. So that's what you get when you come to Lancaster.
Yes. I'm like, wow. Well, that's just amazing. Well, it's been, a real pleasure to get to know you as a woman, as a wife, as a coach. This is just so amazing. Lancaster, man, they're so blessed to have you. And I know they've honored you with a stadium in your name and these amazing things. So we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to get back to hear all about the amazing accomplishments of Beverly, and also how we can continue to support her and support Lancaster in their athletic program. We'll be right back. Hey guys, Ben and Lauren here again to tell you about another product line from Rascal. This is our face line. And many men, right, will you agree, don't particularly care for their face.
Yes.
Okay.
They like their face, but they're afraid to fix it.
Right. And so we need to put moisturizer, we need to exfoliate, we need to tone it. But most importantly, guys, you've got to start using eye cream. Women, get your men using eye cream. Here's a Rascal eye cream right here. It's real easy
you're not gonna
and
do it, are you?
fantastic.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna-
because I feel like that maybe today you did not put any on.
You're right. I actually didn't put them on.
We can tell, but it's okay. We'll fix it.
Okay.
So we just dab a little on, and then take your fingers, don't manhandle it, but gently pat it into your eyes.
Yep.
And there's no reason our men have to have bags under their eyes or dark circles. So go to rascalman.com, go to the Jen's Place, and pick up an entire face line for your man today. Welcome back to the show For the Love of Dallas. I'm your host, Lauren Davis, and we are back with my lovely co-host, Ben Davis, my husband.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And we are back with Miss Beverly Humphrey. She is the Chief of Athletics for Lancaster ISD and the head track coach. She is not short on massive accomplishments. She's broken so many barriers. So I'm just so privileged to have her here to hear all about it. So Beverly, thanks for welcome back.
My pleasure.
And they had girls track
coach.
Girls
Thank you.
track. Emphasis on the girls.
Yes.
The girls need to be taken care of and recognized, right?
Yes. I love it. Well, you're in charge of a lot over there in Lancaster, and you have had many state championships. We were just doing the math over here and counting them up. So how many has it been so far?
13 state championships. I'm going to run it off for you if you don't mind.
Oh, please do.
Okay. 35 district championships, 30 consecutive. 9 area championships, 18 regional championships, 13 state championships, and 36 state championships in relays.
Wow. And for all of that, they named the athletic stadium after you. When was that?
That was in '07. The community came together and they went to the superintendent and they came to me first. And people say things to you like that. You're like, I don't need all that. I just want to win. And so anyway, they went to the board and the board approved it. And since '07, Beverly D. Humphrey Tiger Stadium.
Wow. That's incredible. This part of the show, we always like to cover priorities because we interview people here that have achieved so much. But as we know with high achievers, they're not done.
Right.
They're still shooting for something else.
Yes.
So like over the next year or 2 years or 5 years, however you look at it, you've already gotten all the state championships in the district and everything else. Like, do you want 100 more state championships? Do you want a bigger football stadium named after you? But I mean, we know high achievers are still looking at what's next. So what are y'all focused on over the next year or two?
Well, when I started out young, didn't really know how to talk to the media. And the newspaper guy asked me what were my goals and what did I plan to do. And I said, I want to win 10 state championships. Had never been to the state championship other than being in high school. So he ragged me pretty hard about that. So as we moved on and I got to Lancaster and everything, the goal was to win 10 state championships. And so when that happened, then I told my assistant coach, let's see if we can win 15. So we're not there yet. And I'm a little bit older and wiser.
Yeah.
So I'll take them whenever they come. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So you got 2 more to cross off the list.
Well, let's just take one at a time.
Okay.
And then we'll see what we'll do from
Well, you got to
there.
be careful the way that you coach and lead. You might get 2 state championships in 1 year between all the teams as athletic director. That's always a possibility.
Yeah, my boys basketball team, they played in the regional finals, lost to Dallas Kemple, who won the state championship. So in Lancaster, we're always looking to do better and to try our best to be in the top 3, 4. That's our goal. The first goal is to get the kids educated so that we can send them on to college.
Mhm.
And then the second goal is to make sure we have the best coaches in the spots that we have open, in the positions that we have open, and to make sure that they know what they're doing. They run a disciplined program and they understand that we are the Weibo Nation.
I love it. I love all the pride, the school pride, the district pride you have. It's beautiful because you've been there for over 30 years, correct?
30. This is my 35th year.
35th year. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's such a huge accomplishment. Well, I know you don't get to be champions without a massive effort and coaching the whole person. And I heard you mention that you do a lot of service projects with the kids. Our show is all about service. I'd love to know, how you've raised these champions through your service.
Well, through the years, we've had the canned food drives for Thanksgiving. We have donated to Christmas organizations to give out Christmas presents. There was a time when we would read to the kids. I've mentored the little ones running track, and so have my girls. So in any way that we can be helpful, I have a lot of kids that come over who are, I would say, 9, 10 years old. I train them, and the girls help me. They show them how to get in the blocks. They show them how to do handoffs. They show them how to long jump, And so through those service things that we do on a yearly basis, I feel really good about serving the Lancaster community.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think just champions, a lot of times the way they serve is just modeling the behavior that all of the rest of us should follow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think just being a champion, having these girls and boys show up and the community seeing them be their best.
Right.
Like that's service to me in the community, because I imagine all these little kids are watching these games going, I want to be them when I grow up, right? I want to win the game. I want to be my best.
I have the little ones, they say, I want to run for you when I'm older. And I'm thinking in my head, when you get to these workouts, I don't know. But it's a lovely thing for someone to come up to you in their, let's say, 5th grade, and they say, Coach Humphrey, I'm going to run for you.
Mm-hmm.
But one of these days, Coach Humphrey is going to have to step aside.
We're going to need one of your amazing track girls to come in and carry the torch, right?
Well, I have
Take the
3
baton.
of them on my staff.
Oh,
My kids.
wow.
Yes. Well, they're women.
That's
but,
yeah, and they're not kids anymore. I bet it's
Yes.
hard to transition
Yeah,
that
it
sometimes.
is. Yes.
Gosh, that is beautiful. I mean, what a service to Lancaster, just to have such an iconic program that's centered around excellence. Like you're saying, I can't think of any greater contribution to an entire community than to be leading an excellent program, and one that is educating children in an amazing school district. But sometimes, kids, school's not maybe the funnest thing to go to, or they're not inclined educationally, they don't feel like that's where they exceed. But to have an athletic program that demands excellence in the classroom in order to participate, on the field, is a huge motivator for kids to start learning to care about their education and give them that extra motivation that they might need. I'd love to hear kind of about how you handle your kids when maybe they are failing. I remember one time I started to fail a class, and I got a good talking to from my coach, and it sort of turned me around. Like, I'd love to know just a little bit, how do you handle these kids? How are you growing these champions?
Well, the first thing in my program, if you're an assistant coach, is grades. No pass, no play. So we have 10 or 12 girls assigned to each coach. Your first job is to check on the grades and their behavior in class. So this is something that you do 2 or 3 times a week. If they are failing, they let me know, and that's automatic study hall. If you're struggling, that's automatic study hall. We let the kids go during track practice. I'm not the type of coach, well, you got to get your practice in. No, you have to pass. You have to know what you're doing so that when this journey is over, you can go to school and get an education. So that's how I handle it in my program. Education first. All coaches understand that. And we do it on a daily basis.
Wow. That has to be foundational to champions. Champions are well-rounded people. They serve their community. They give back. They know the priorities in their life. They know, right, we're rallied around winning, but winning at the expense of, the goodness in your life or your education, relationships, is no win at all. It's just beautiful what you've done.
I have to do it. I have to ask. Okay. we have a baseball team, we have a basketball team, we have a football team. Basketball team, I don't think has won a championship since 2011. Football team, it's been a while. I think 95 we heard. Rangers ever won a World Series? No. Never won a World Series. I imagine people might be recruiting you to go coach one of these teams.
I get offers all the time. But this is the kicker. I'm my mother's and father's only child. I'm from Dallas. And in my family through the years, you did not move away from your parents, your grandparents. You were somewhere close so that you could take care of them. And that has been my main reason for not accepting some jobs. And then it doesn't hurt when you drive up to the Beverly D. Humphrey Tiger Stadium.
No, it doesn't.
And so I'm happy in Lancaster. We have a great administrative team. They're moving the scores. We had a B rating this year. The new administration has come in and they're changing things. The atmosphere is great. So my career is short, but I'm loving what I do now.
Yeah. Well, Lancaster's certainly lucky to have you. And I do know some people on the football team. So, if you ever get an inkling, I can make the ask to remove AT&T from the building and put Beverly Humphrey on there. I'll make the ask. I don't know what they'll say, but I'm happy to make that ask for you.
And let me mention one more thing. I have a great wrestling team. We had our first boy wrestler to win the state championship this year.
Wow.
But our kids go to state every year. So we're building that program. In secondary programs, tennis, swimming, we're trying. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a well-rounded athletic program.
Yeah, sounds like it. No question about that.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I know I read in the paper that you have particularly shattered a record, not only being a Black woman and a woman, you're like the most winningest coach in Texas. Am I saying that right? I mean, you've won more state champions than anybody?
Yes, I'm the winningest UIL coach in the state of Texas in track and field. And I've won more district championships than football coaches.
That's amazing.
I like making that dig because we all know how much people love their Texas football. So I like poking that just a little bit.
Yeah, there's some really, really great stuff happening in Lancaster. I mean, I think that is great. I love being around people who are just shattering stereotypes, shattering, these glass ceilings. And you've done it on every level, just on every level. And in probably one of the most competitive arenas is Texas sports, high school sports. And you, I mean, of all the men, of all the women, of all the Black women, and there's so many categories that you've just busted through. I think that is just beyond an inspiration and is going to, carry Lancaster for decades. You're clearly creating a legacy there. and they've put your name on the stadium. You've got the generation below where you're coaching, looking forward to their participation in your programs, and not just one program, not just track, everything to wrestling. And you've got your eyes set on other sports.
Volleyball, basketball.
Yes.
I coached volleyball in Lancaster for 16 years. I won 457 games.
I mean, you win. You're a winner. I love it.
You know, I'd like to think that.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like every step of the way from high school, you know, being a senior in January, asking you to run track and you've never ran before. And then here you are, one of the fastest in the state of Texas. It's kind of like a coat that feels really good.
Yeah.
So let's do everything we can every year to make sure we're in the best position to win. You're not going to win them all, but you put yourself in the best position to win. And that's what I try to do.
Right. I mean, I imagine you teach the kids how to lose too. No champion knows how to win without knowing a good loss.
So when I lost the 2009 state championship, and I cried, you know, I'm a mama's girl, and I cried, and my mother looked at me and she said, Beverly, losing is a part of winning. You have to do that well. You have to do that well.
You have to do it well.
Yeah.
You had a good mama. I
had
love
a
it.
good mama.
I love it. It's so clear. It's so clear, and you're clearly holding that place. You know, for I'm sure a lot of your student athletes. You know, a mother figure. I've had many mother figures in my life show up. You know, I think we get mothered by more than just our birth mother, and I think that's such a cool. Just what a privilege to get to do that. So I'd love to leave out with two things. How do you want your legacy remembered as you're, approaching, the back half of your career? What do you want when you leave the little generation to say? What are they going to look up to? And how can our greater Dallas community or Dallas County community support Lancaster and support your athletics?
Well, I want my legacy to be the passion I had for it, the time I put in. I was always there to listen. It's about the girls. You know, I have doctors, lawyers, CFOs, teachers, principals. The list goes on, and we're still in contact. I have a party, a Christmas party for the volleyball women. They come, you have to be 26 to come to the party. And then I have one in the summer for the track women. And so I want to be remembered for being there, the one that was there. I had some kids from Greenville come to Lancaster. This was years ago, and they wanted to see me. And they said, Coach Humphrey will be at the school. This was 9:00 at night. They came from Greenville to see me. Where was I? At the school. I want to be remembered for the one who didn't just talk the talk, but walk the walk. And in any situation, you could come to Coach Humphrey.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So how can we follow your programs? Where can we find Lancaster Athletics?
You can go on our website. You can go to athletics and you will see all of our programs. I'm the AD, so I am the one who loves all of the Tigers. I want all of the Tigers to be supported. But I will say this, when we have our meet, we just had it this past weekend, I would love to have volunteers to come out and help us because it's a huge meet. It's one of the best meets in the state of Texas. And there's a lot of people. And just reach out to Beverly Humphrey at LancasterISD.org.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks to my amazing co-host, Ben. Thank you, Beverly, for just taking the time to tell us about you. I know lives will be changed. Kids will be inspired. Adults, parents, people will just be inspired within the communities to be an example of your legacy, of being excellent, of being your best, of being a champion on and off the field. So I'm so grateful for your time here and getting to know you and hearing your story. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Oh, you bet. You bet. Well, that completes another episode of For the Love of Dallas. I'm your host, Lauren Davis, and I hope, as always, that you'll be inspired to give your time, go out and volunteer at that track meet, be around the greatness, see what Lancaster has to offer, and you might find yourself moving there. So thank you. Yes, Ms. Beverly's recruiting. So thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time.